Well, this is the Hyundai Active i20. What is this car all about? Well, essentially, it is the elite i20 with a lot of body armor to make it look masculine and macho. But is it really a compact crossover, or is it essentially a premium hatchback with a little more personality? Let's find out on the show today. Well, so here I'm inside the Hyundai Active i20's cabin, and as you can see, it's a very sporty place to be in. This orange stitching on the seat really does make it look very cool and very youthful. And cars which have a different exterior color come with a blue stitching as well. So that is something which you should consider if you are in the market for the Active i20. The other good point is that this car comes loaded with a lot of features, and the key features in this car is a cool glove box which keeps your chocolates and cold drinks cool on that long journey. You get 1 GB of storage for the stereo, which means that you don't really have to carry your pen drives with you all the time, and you also get a touchscreen system over here for the GPS maps. Now this car doesn't have it, but you do get that as an option now. If you are someone who uses his cell phone or his tablet a lot, then this is a good car to be in, because you always have points to keep those devices charged. Now that said, in terms of seat comfort, it is pretty good, but support for the lower back could be a little better, because it's pretty soft and it can tie you on long highway trips. But overall, the ambience inside the cabin has a certain feel-good factor to it, which no other premium hatchback can match at this price point. In terms of practicality, as I just mentioned, you get 2 big boxes. You also get 2 cup holders over here. There's a big tray up ahead where you can keep your cell phone as well as wallet, and the door bins can hold 1 big 1 liter bottle from your home. So it's a decent place in terms of practicality, and overall in terms of cabin ambience, an excellent job, because this car has, as I just mentioned, that special feel good factor. Well, unlike the Elite i20, which has a beige interior and feels like a airy and roomy place to be in, this one has an all black cabin with a little bit of orange put into the fabric. So in that sense, it can feel a little claustrophobic in the back seat, especially because the windows are pretty narrow. So long journeys can feel a little claustrophobic if you have 3 people here and don't take too many breaks. But the good point is that you get your own AC vents which have a decent throw of air. You get place below the front seats where you can keep your feet, and overall the seat comfort is pretty good. The backrest angle is excellent, and support is decent as well. And if you are going to use it as a 3-seater, the floorboard is almost flattish, so whoever's sitting here has plenty of place to keep his feet. So even though it might be a little dark and can get a little dreary on long trips, it's decent in terms of space as well as comfort. Well, so in terms of boot capacity, the Active is similar to the Elite i20, which is 285 liters of space, but you get this huge loading lip over here, which means that you will have to lift out your heavy object and put your back into it. But otherwise, it's a pretty square boot, it's a pretty big boot, and it's decent for those long highway trips. Well, so here I am driving the Hyundai Active i20. Now this car, remember, comes with 2 engine options. There's a 1.2 petrol and there's also a 1.4 diesel. Now the petrol motor makes about 80 odd bhp of. Now the petrol motor is pretty okay in terms of responsiveness, but only after you cross about 1500 or 1600 rpm. Below that it feels a little lazy, so you have to rev the engine up a bit to get the car going. But of course, if you want sheer performance, then you should choose the 1.4 diesel common rail engine, because the diesel delivers 89 bhp of power, but also more importantly comes with a 6-speed manual gearbox, and that manual gearbox lends a lot of refinement to this engine, especially when you take it out on the highway, because the addition of that 6th gear means that flexibility is greatly enhanced. And if you are doing, say, speeds of about 90 or 100 kph, which are average speeds on most Indian highways, then the engine on the Active i20 is spinning at a relatively low 1800 or 1900 rpm, making the cabin a relatively quiet and calm place to be in, because the engine already is pretty refined, and along with that extra gear gives it greater refinement as well as flexibility. So a great job from Hyundai in terms of the diesel engine as well as the 6-speed manual gearbox. Well, what you will also instantly like on this car if you drive a lot within the city is this very light steering wheel. It's probably the lightest steering wheel on any premium hatchback. And yes, it isn't very feelsome or very sporty to our people who buy these cars. At the end of the day, buy them for sheer peace of mind as well as value, and don't really buy them because they offer you sporty handling. So in that sense, Hyundai have done a great job with the steering wheel, because this car won't tire you a lot at the end of the day, maneuvering around and using your biceps or triceps, because it's not heavy at all. While the clutch also on both the petrol as well as the diesel is pretty linear to operate, as well as pretty light, and it's only after maybe 20 or 30 or 1,000 kilometers on the odometer that the clutch becomes heavy on the diesel version of the car. But yes, brand new cars should not have that issue, and that along with this very light and crisp gearbox makes maneuvering this car and driving this car and pottering it around town a pretty joyous affair. Well, now remember, the Active i20 has a slightly raised suspension compared to the Elite i20, which means that if you do encounter some badly patchwork roads, then this car will take care of them without too much fuss. But yes, of course, don't think of it as a compact crossover, because it's not. It's essentially a premium hatchback with slightly raised suspension to take on some bad pothole roads. Well, what you will enjoy inside this car is the refinement from both the diesel and the petrol motors, and even when you really rev them hard, they don't have that harshness to them that is associated. And even when you rev them hard, they don't tend to become very boomy or loud or harsh inside the cabin, which is a very good thing. And kudos to Hyundai for managing to do that with the i20. Well, so if you're in the market for a premium hatchback which offers you a lot of personality on the outside but still has charming as well as a feel-good interior, and also offers you a long list of features and a punchy diesel engine, then there are a few other options as good as the Active i20.